sets the standard for savory satisfaction. Experience the perfection of their Philly steak, turkey bacon, avocado, and more. Elevate your meal with freshly fried fries or onion rings. Visit mavericksbeef.com or visit them off Lexington and Roseville. Mavericks Real Roast Beef. Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Broadcasting live on AM 950, the Progressive Voice of Minnesota. In the evenings on WCPT 820 Chicago's Progressive Talk. And, of course, in the nighttime hours on 1150 AM KKNW in Seattle. It is the Matt McNeil Show on your Thursday. Nice to have you with us. Matt and Patrick here today a little bit later on in the 4 o'clock hour. They've got the Giants preview party going over at the Minneapolis Institute of Arts. They have got a new exhibit over there. There's going to be a big event over there, 21 plus. And we got some tickets to give away for that. So we'll talk about that coming up here in a little bit. Patrick, how are you today?
Doing well. There will be no tickets to give away because I'm going to steal them and walk right out of here.
That is not how you do that. And for the FCC friends who I know are definitely paying attention to this radio station right now, funny joke, Patrick. Anyway, we will give those away. I'm actually going to go to the media preview for this. This actually looks pretty good. I can't wait to see that. So, speaking of seeing things, did you see Gaffigan was in town last night? Did you see this?
I did not know he was here.
Jim Gaffigan, the comedian, was in town in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and they announced him to come on stage, and the person that came on stage was not Jim Gaffigan. It was Governor Tim Walz, who Gaffigan played on Saturday Night Live during the election season last year, to a thunderous applause in town here, which, it was, and Gaffigan came on out. That was kind of a set bit there, but it was nice to see that Gaffigan and Walz having a quite nice little moment there on the stage in the aftermath of what happened last year.
Well, that would have definitely been something to see for sure.
Oh, God, it is video. I will post the video of it. It's taken from a few different angles, and Gaffigan said something which I thought was interesting. He said, "I have never heard a politician get a thunderous applause like Tim Walz did when he walked out on that stage." And so, yeah, that was kind of interesting to hear him say that he's never heard anything. It is pretty loud when he does. And of course, this is a little local politics for us here in the Twin Cities. Walz has said he does not want to run for Tina Smith's Senate seat, but we're all hoping here he runs again for governor. Oh, please, sir. I'd love you to stay in the governor's office for another 4 years. 952-946-6205. I want to read to you. I'm for everyone who is new to the show, I am a veteran. I know. At one point, I was a first line of defense. Actually, I'm very proud of my service. U.S. Army. I was in 3rd of the 5th Field Artillery, and I was what was called a rat rig operator back then. 31 Charlie. I was I used to do communications for the headquarters company, that sort of thing. And while I was in the military, my job became obsolete. This is back in the early 90s. And so I became what was called a 46 Romeo, which was I was an Armed Forces Radio Network radio broadcaster. Where, I mean, if you're going to blame anyone, blame the U.S. Army, because that's why I still do what I do today. I started doing it, and I'm like, oh, my God, this is so much fun. And, yeah, there's even a funny story about me at one point going to being the first person to play Nirvana's Smell Like Teen Spirit in Europe. And, yeah, it was kind of an interesting moment. At some point, I'll share that story. But, I'm U.S. Army. I'm a veteran. I believe in veterans causes. And I've always said the same thing. And I've been doing this radio show for 15 years. I've been doing this show, which, by the way, we got something coming up for that. I'm going to tease it. I'm just going to tease it. We got something coming up for that 15th anniversary thing coming here. Just a tease. That's called a tease. That's called 15th anniversary. We'll get more details on that. Over the years, I have said, I don't care if there's an R or a D next to your name. If you support the following 4 things, then I will support you when it comes to the veterans. Number 1 is that there are no hurdles at all to any benefits that the veteran has received, or in the case of the greatest sacrifice for this country, the family of that veteran received. No hoops, no hurdles, just get them what they're owed. They have earned it. Number two, that you should be able to, as a veteran, go into any medical facility in the country, regardless of high-end cosmetic surgery, just for the wealthy. You should be able to walk into any medical facility in the country and get seen, to prevent veterans from having to travel, in some cases, astronomical distances to get medical checkups. That should never be the case. They should be able to, and we can make that a federal law, that if you are a medical facility, you have to see veterans. You cannot turn them away. We should have that. That should be done. Period. End of story. That should be number two. Number three, free public college for all veterans. Period. There you go. They've earned it. You serve 4 years in the military service. It's the least we can do to say a thank you. So you get free college at a public university and 4 free job placement for that veteran, whether they go to college or not, for the rest of their lives. You do those 4 things, I'm on board with you. To this date, there's only been 2 politicians who have ever agreed to that. One was Governor Walz. This is back when he was the first Minnesota first representative, Minnesota 1 district. And he said, his words exactly, "Amen, brother. We need to get that on a t-shirt," if I remember correctly. He's the first one. The second one was Al Franken, was the second politician. Only 2 politicians have agreed to that. I will support you no matter what. And those 2 guys always have my undying faith, because as a veteran, that's not just, dance, putting on a dance and acting like you're doing something. No, that's putting up and making sure that the veterans are taken care of. And so I'm very big supportive of those 2 guys. I'm going to talk about the veterans, but there's a story here, and Rolling Stone has an excellent story, but I want to make sure there's one paragraph here that I read this and I said, sweet Jesus, is this the lead for everyone to pay attention to? Rolling Stone, you get the credit on this one. I'm just going to read this paragraph. And I'll get back to the veteran stuff here in just a little bit. But I'm going to read this paragraph because this is 1,000% true. Let's be clear. DOGE is not about saving money. It's about weakening public services to justify privatization. I'm going to repeat that line because this is a heist, everybody. This is a heist. They're taking all the money that we give and they're giving it to their buddies. This is a heist. I have said this from the get-go. This is a heist. DOGE is not about saving money. It's about weakening public services to justify the privatization of those public services. It goes on to say the VA, the largest integrated healthcare system in the country, has long been a target of conservatives who want to dismantle it piece by piece, handing its functions over to the private industry. They see veterans not as people who deserve care, but as customers to be exploited for profit. These cuts are part of a larger coordinated effort to make the VA seem dysfunctional so that handing it over to a for-profit entity seems like the only solution. Ta freaking da! Ta freaking da! I wish I would have been able to say it as cleanly as Rolling Stone just did. But that's, again, I'm going to reread that entire paragraph. I want you to soak in every moment of this, because this is it. This is what's really going on here. DOGE is not about saving money. It's about weakening public services to justify privatization. The VA, the largest integrated healthcare system in the country, has long been a target of conservatives who want to dismantle it piece by piece, handing its functions over to private industry. They see veterans not as people who deserve care, but as customers to be exploited for profit. These cuts are part of a larger coordinated effort to make the VA seem dysfunctional so that handing it over to a for-profit entity seems like the only solution. Yep. I want you to take this and apply it to the post office, which has been running ever since, the idiot took over there. It's been running worse and worse and worse. They want to privatize it. And once again, to all you fun-loving rural Americans who think, but they're still going to give me service right out of my country road where I'm the only house out here for 7 miles. No, they're not. They're going to tell you that you need to travel 40 minutes to the nearest private mail hub, which you have to pay for to have a mailbox. Because even if they're not going to give you any mail unless you pay for them. You'll get the bargain basement rate of say $20 per month that you have to pay them for the right to drive 40 miles to their distribution center and get your mail. That's what's going to happen. Because at the end of the day, privatization doesn't make services better. It doesn't. There is a fatal flaw in the difference between a government-run program and a privately run program, and that is profit. Profit is the key. When you have a government-run program, profit margins are not part of a thing. Executive bonuses, stock margins, these are not part of the program. Henceforth, you eliminate the need to have a profit margin involved here, and you can do the project. And for the most part, as much as Republicans like to scream about government being a failure, government is a massive success on many different levels. It is a massive success on many different levels. And they hate that because that's money that could be going to their brother, their cousin, their wife's father, their families, to their biggest contributors to their campaign. The National Park Service. They hate the fact the National Park Service is run by the federal government. They want that to be run by like it's Disneyland. Only not Disneyland, but a really bad version of Disneyland, where to get in, well, it's going to cost you $50 per day to come on in if you really want to see the Grand Canyon, because that's our expenses. Per day. No, it's the reality is you are looking at an absolute attack on the federal government, not because the federal government is badly run. No, you're attacking it because they want to basically kill programs they don't like, and the ones that they can't kill, they want to give to their buddies to make as much profit as possible off of the taxpayers. That same service that veteran would get under a VA system, guess what? It will cost them 3 times as much, and they have to pay for most of it out of pocket. And then the same Republicans that did this will claim that, see, we care so much about the troops that we basically made it cost 3 times more. But that's what you had to do to make sure that their buddy got a profit. DOGE is not about saving money. It's about weakening public services to justify privatization. Put that on a frickin' t-shirt. It is the Matt McNeil Show. I love the Toyota Sienna Hybrid from Rudy Luther Toyota. Safe, roomy, comfortable, and insanely fuel efficient. One thing I haven't mentioned is how good the Sienna is at winter driving. We just had a snowstorm, and my Sienna handled the ice and snow no problem. From getting through the plow pile at the end of the driveway to safely navigating the snow-covered highways, the Sienna is designed to give you a comfortable, safe drive. When winter weather hits, I give myself extra time, but with Sienna's handling and heated seats, extra time is great. Test drive a Sienna today at Rudy Luther Toyota, 394 and 169 in Golden Valley.
Are you experiencing troubles with thinking, comprehending, or speaking, have post-COVID brain fog, ADHD, concussion, tremors from Parkinson's, mental health issues, or simply striving to maximize your brain's potential? At Hypercharge Wellness Centers, we deliver transformative results for the brain. Hypercharge Wellness's brain fitness protocol utilizes cutting-edge modalities, including PEMF, red light therapy beds, and transcranial laser, which all work together to improve focus and cognitive functions. These treatments aim to improve the brain's blood flow and electrical patterns, which reduces anxiety and enhances relaxation, providing a comprehensive approach to brain health optimization. All are invited to experience this life-changing journey towards achieving the pinnacle of cognitive and emotional well-being. Call or go online to schedule your free Hypercharge Wellness introductory session, valued at $200 today. This is your opportunity to feel the difference for yourself. No matter where you are in the Twin Cities, there is a convenient location near you. Visit hyperchargeclinic.com now. That's hyperchargeclinic.com. Hypercharge is hope.
Hey, it's Patrick. February is the month for love, so when was the last time you gave your carpet the love and attention it deserves? Have you gotten down on your hands and knees and adored how clean and refreshed it was, or are you scared of what you might see or smell? Not only is your carpet one of the biggest investments in your home, but it's also the biggest air filter in your home. If your carpet hasn't been professionally cleaned, you are breathing unhealthy levels of nasty dirt, dander, bacteria, and germs that keep recirculating again and again and again. But lucky for you, my friends at Zero Res are going to spread the love to you and your home with their Love Your Rug special. Get 3 rooms Zero Resified starting for just $119 and get a 4th room free. But don't forget dirt and dander's favorite hiding place either, your air ducts. This month, take $75 off any air duct cleaning. Call Zero Res right now, 952-ZERO-RES, or go online to ZeroResMinnesota.com and say you want the AM 950 special. Back order forward, it smells the same. Zero Res.
Hi, this is Laura. Listen to Food Freedom Radio every Saturday at 8 a.m. or anytime via podcast. Our individual health is connected to the health of each other and connected to the health of the earth. We know the problems with the dominant food system: climate change, deadening soils, nitrates in the water, factory farming, injustice, concentration of wealth. How do we both as individuals and as a community step up and support a living food system which honors the earth? Tune to Food Freedom Radio every Saturday at 8 a.m. and remember to support your independent farmers.
Stick like toffee, sip like coffee, wake up, change your mind and drop me love to hate me crazy, shady, spit me out like hot wasabi, lick me up, I'm sweet.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. Nice to have you with us today. Going back to this Rolling Stone article that line came from, I want to read the whole thing because this is, and it just is, anytime I see an article that talks about how the veterans are being abused, I need to read it so we can talk about it, because this should not be happening. The Department of Veterans Affairs Secretary Doug Collins' tenure is off to a rocky start. The former Georgia congressman and jackass, unapologetic Donald Trump loyalist, began to release a series of videos assuring that, despite the rhetoric, there would be no cuts to the VA. Liar. These videos preceded 2 rounds of layoffs at the department. He said he released videos and just a few days later started cutting people. How deceitful and lying do you need to be? First, 1,000 employees, many of them veterans, and then another 1,400 last week. Notably, Collins was not being forced to make these cuts by Trump or the so-called Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. Instead, he appears to be slashing these jobs on his own just to win favor with Trump and Musk. While Trump's government proudly touts its savings, the reality is DOGE's cuts are built on lies, mismanagement, and outright cruelty. The New York Times recently exposed how the department grossly inflated 5 of its largest cost-cutting claims, citing billions in savings that were either fictional, exaggerated, or predated the organization's existence. Then it outright deleted those claims from its website. So when caught on it, they basically got caught on their lie. The number of veterans losing their jobs is damning. Among the 3,700 or so VA employees fired were specialists in PTSD treatment, oncology research, and crisis line staffers. Crisis line staffers. One veteran, a suicide prevention counselor who was let go with nothing more than a generic email. Another, a disabled former Army sergeant working in claims processing, was terminated just before his probationary period ended, cutting off his ability to join the union and fight back. Congress estimates that 6,000 veterans have been fired by DOGE, but this number is low. Many former military officers and others do not qualify for veteran status under federal guidelines, even though they were in fact veterans. With DOGE targeting the Department of Defense, the world's largest employer of veterans, Congress estimates up to 50,000 veterans could lose their jobs in the next 6 months. This would not only cripple the lives of 50,000 of America's best, but also create a severe economic ripple effect. It would make matters worse. The VA cut $2 billion in government contracts, 70% of those belonging to service-disabled, veteran-owned businesses. Many of these veterans rely on VA-backed home loans, which could see a spike in defaults while unemployment claims could surge. The loss of their spending power in concentrated markets could further strain consumer and other economic sectors, and the DOGE will cost the American taxpayer far more than can ever hope to save. Unbelievable. This on top of a story I brought up in Minneapolis. This is from the local CBS affiliate here in the Twin Cities. The Department of Veterans Affairs announced another job cuts on Monday of this week. A former Minneapolis Veterans Affairs Medical Center employee who wished to remain anonymous recently shared her experience after being fired. She had dedicated nearly 6 years to serving veterans. I love working this job. I love serving veterans. Despite her passion for the role, the employee's pension was terminated. She was on her probation period after starting a new role. So I want to say this. She was there for 6 years, which you'd say, how are you in a probationary role? Well, she took a different role, and so that restarted her probationary period. So even though she had 6 years of experience, she was canned as being a probationary worker. In the email she received, the agency said your performance has not met the burden to demonstrate that the further employment of the agent would be in the public interest. However, the most recent performance review this employee had contradicted this, describing her work as exceptional and outstanding. So they're not even looking at personnel records. They're just firing people and saying, we've determined you to be substandard. If you ever want proof that they want to take this back to the age of the company town, it's that right there. It doesn't matter if the worker was a good worker. All that matters is how much were we paying them? Well, they're gone. Doesn't matter that they were working in PTSD and crisis hotline management. Doesn't matter that they're working in oncology research for veterans. Many employees of the VA are veterans themselves, and the impact of these mass layoffs is being felt throughout the organization. The VA maintains that the staff cuts are due to elimination of non-mission critical positions. I want to repeat that they've been cutting people that deal with PTSD and crisis center hotline workers. Non-mission critical positions? Shut up, you jackasses. They say this will allow them to redirect the $83 million annually towards healthcare benefits and services to our veterans. However, employees disagree with this characterization. The idea that these federal employees are sitting around with our feet up on our desk, that we're wasting time and energy of the American people. We work hard at our jobs and have very important mission to support healthcare for veterans, the former employee said. I have been to the VA multiple times here in Minneapolis, St. Paul. Every time I go in there, everyone seems to be busting their ass. Everyone seems to be working pretty hard. This is, once again, this is the lie. Oh, there's fraud and waste and abuse. Okay, where is it? Just trust us. It's there, and we're going to fire people. Well, you fired people who are working. Once again, I'm going to go back to the Rolling Stone story here. Firing people in PTSD treatment, oncology research, and crisis line staffers. A direct quote from the Rolling Stone article. That doesn't seem like the fat. This is about breaking the Veterans Administration and then just getting rid of the parts they don't like and selling off the parts to their corporate buddies for the highest fee so that they can charge veterans more for the service that they were, for less of the service that they were getting when the federal government ran it. I will make this argument. There isn't a single freaking business that the private sector has taken over from the federal government that runs better than when the government ran it. Nope, not one. Not a single one. I'll repeat that because I know there's some people like, come on, that. No, it's true. There's not a single government program that was taken over by the private sector where that private sector runs better than it did when the government was running it. Please. Charter schools? We go public education. Charter schools, they test generally 10 points lower than the public school system. NASA, how many freaking rocket ships have blown up on the damn pad over there? No, seriously. This is everything is about to go bad because the only thing that matters to these people is profit. The only thing and what they're going to do is they're going to sign 500-year contracts with some private corporation to run all the VA stuff. And that says, if the government tries to take this back, well, then you basically, you can get $20 trillion from the U.S. government. That's what they'll do. To hog tie any future administration to undo the harm that they have done. Republicans hate the veterans. Can I just say this? Why is this so hard for so many people to understand? Republicans hate you. They love you for the photo ops, but you dummies go out there and do the photo op with them, and you don't ask, are they actually taking care of the troops? And they're not. And They let go post-traumatic stress disorder treatment staff members, oncology researchers, and crisis line staffers. They don't care about the veterans. DOGE is not about saving money. It's about weakening public services to justify privatization. Thank you, Rolling Stone. Take a break, come back. It's the Matt McNeil Show.
It's Brad Friedman, host of the Bradcast, weeknights at 7 on AM 950. KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Located just north of 50th in France, the Great Wall Restaurant has provided a delicious taste of authentic Chinese cuisine since 1981. Specializing in Szechuan and Peking dishes, they offer one of the most extensive menus in the Twin Cities. Favorites include hot and sour soup, pan-fried dumplings, and mushu pork with homemade Chinese pancakes. Stop by their Edina location or call for takeout at 952-927-4439. See the full menu at greatwallrestaurant.us.
The Minneapolis Institute of Art will be presenting Giants, art from the Dean collection of Swizz Beatz and Alicia Keys from March 8th through July 13th. On Friday, March 7th at 8 o'clock, join Mia and fellow art enthusiasts, tastemakers, and community members during an after-hours party in the gallery celebrating the opening of the Giants exhibition. Be the first to see pieces from this collection, highlighting nearly 100 works by significant Black artists, including Gordon Parks, Jean-Michel Basquiat, Lorna Simpson, Amy Sherald, and more. In addition to early access, guests will enjoy musical entertainment, light bites, and a cash bar featuring specialty cocktails. This MIA event is 21 plus, and you can find tickets at artsmia.org. That's artsmia.org. It's anticipated that this event will sell out quickly, so make your plans today. Tune in this week for your chance to win tickets right here on AM 950 on the Matt McNeil Show, Monday through Friday between 3 and 5 p.m.
End-of-life decisions are not easy to make. Hi, I'm Mary T. of Mary T. Hospice Care. It's important to make sure that this difficult time is meaningful and comforting to you and your loved ones. Our hospice team provides an individualized program of physical, emotional, spiritual, and practical care so your loved one is comfortable and not in pain. At Mary T. Hospice, we understand that choosing the right hospice care provider can be overwhelming, but we're here to assist you. Learn more today at marytinc.com.
AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Experience a brand new musical bursting with imagination and surprises. In Milo Imagines the World, a wildly creative young boy spends his time on a crowded train car, imagining the lives of the passengers around him, and sees his dreams come to vivid life in the form of vibrant songs and energetic dance numbers, with tunes ranging from pop to hip-hop to country. You won't want to miss this stunning new production that the Chicago Reader called an absolute delight. Milo Imagines the World is on stage at Children's Theater Company through March 9th. Get your tickets today at childrenstheater.org.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, cloudy with a low of 36. Then Friday, partly sunny with a high of 46, but temperatures falling. Maverick's Real Roast Beef in Roseville is an East Metro treasure, but there's so much more than just roast beef. Don't miss out on the fantastic crispy chicken, brisket, Philly steak, fish, and more. Maverick's is on Lexington Avenue, 1 mile south of Highway 36. Visit their website at mavericksbeef.com.
Broadcasting in the evenings on WCPT 820 Chicago's Progressive Talk. In the nighttime hours in Seattle, 1150 AM KKNW. And, of course, in Minneapolis, St. Paul on AM 950, the Progressive Voice of Minnesota. It is the Matt McNeil Show. You know, Patrick, it's almost that time of the year. Fish Fry Friday, man.
Ooh, I know that's one of your favorite times of the year.
Oh, good. Can we do the show on Fridays in Chicago and Seattle? And I could go on out there and experience... Oh, I bet the Seattle Fish Fry Fridays are amazing.
Maybe they toss the fish right into the cart to be taken to the fish fry.
Pike's Market, yeah. Yeah, watch out, incoming. I'm all over that action. No, gosh, that's a great idea. We have to get onto the bosses here at the station, see if they'll pull that one off. I love Fish Fry. Fish Fry Friday, I mean... Once again, I've talked about my religious journey. I'm no longer Catholic. We're not practicing Catholics, but I still do love Fish Fry Friday because it's fish fries on Friday. It's so good. Oh, looking forward to that. That starts up, I think, when's Ash Wednesday's next Wednesday. Yeah, in Mardi Gras as is on Tuesday next week. Fat Tuesday is next week. And then there you go. And then we're into it. Hello, America. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. I think I'm going to just label this next section, your virus update. First of all, from The Onion, RFK Jr. vows to make measles deaths so common they won't be upsetting anymore. All right, great. There you go. I'm serious. I mean, that seems to be his desire is to basically, hey, you got a kid with measles? Well, everybody rub yourself on the measles kid. That will make everyone a little bit happier. There you go. No, I'm not a fan of that guy. I also should mention this. The Food and Drug Administration on Wednesday canceled a planned March 13th meeting to update next winter's flu shot. What? It's the second vaccine policy meeting to be canceled since RFK Jr. became, aka Moonbeam, became Secretary of Health and Human Services. RFK Jr., a vaccine skeptic, has criticized vaccine advisory committees for potential conflicts of interest and undue influence on the pharmaceutical industry. The FDA will make public its recommendations to manufacturers in time for an updated vaccines to be available for the 25-26 influenza season, a spokesperson said in the statement. Well, yeah, because it would seem to me the easiest thing in the world to do is to, just kind of go through what you've been doing to make sure it is taken care of, as opposed to waiting until July. It's like, oh my gosh, we forgot to tell everybody about what flu shot to get. The reason for canceling the March 13th meeting for the Vaccines and Related Biological Products Advisory Committee was not given. What a surprise. What a surprise. Every year, flu vaccine manufacturers depend on the FDA to decide which flu strains to include in the vaccines for Americans. I mean, so there's a science here. And I understand, once again, Republicans, I can't stand the science. Yeah, I remember that from COVID. It was really sorry to see all your family members, die. But the science is involved, and they have to create a vaccine for the most prominent strains of flu virus that are out there. Now, one of two things can really be happening here. One, this could literally be RFK Jr. saying, nope, I think flu should have a shot this year. I mean, it could be. We'll all be so much healthier if basically the flu has a fighting chance. Or it could just simply be they've already fired all the people that are supposed to do this. And they do, all of a sudden one day someone walked in on the floor where the forecast for next year's flu model comes in and it's tumbleweeds and crickets. And they're like, hey, where did all the people that were forecasting this go? Oh, we all fired them because we didn't need them. Oh, so now it's time for Dr. Kennedy to talk about how we're not going to give you a flu shot this year. Everyone gets a Moonbeam amethyst crystal, and you hold that near your soul, and that in a whale's head, and you should be fine. What could go wrong? The FDA selects these strains based on the predictions of what flu variants will spread to the upcoming winter. This decision is typically made in early March, following recommendations from the World Health Organization experts who analyze flu data from across the Northern Hemisphere, which, by the way, we are no longer part of. The WHO Advisory Committee is scheduled to meet on Friday. The Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices was formed earlier this month. That its meeting was informed earlier this month that its meeting, originally scheduled for this week, had been postponed. The committee was set to update the nation's vaccine guidelines for 10 infectious diseases, including COVID-19, monkeypox or mpox, and the flu. A rare disease meeting also got pushed off by the Health and Human Services this month. Wow, he's just stellar, isn't he? The abrupt cancellation of the FDA's next vaccine. Think about what the hell, man. What are you doing? I mean, I thought it was bad. I saw Kash Patel today on a conference call with all the regional hub managers for the FBI. His biggest priority seemed to be a fitness program cultivated by the UFC's guy. So in case you want to get into the octagon, I guess, it will teach you how to be physically fit so you can be in a bar fight at any time. I guess that's what we were doing. And my mentality was, okay, sure, you're an FBI agent. Physical fitness is probably a priority, but shouldn't crime also be a priority? Shouldn't, solving those murders and kidnappings. Shouldn't that be a priority? Yeah, I think that would be, as opposed to talking about the wallpaper you're going to put up in every office and it's fabulous. I think you should basically be focusing on, crime. Here you got, that's nothing compared to this. This is, everyone needs to get a bear head, a bear carcass, and once you get your bear carcass, that's where we're at right now. The abrupt cancellation of the FDA's next vaccine advisory committee meeting is deeply concerning development that could delay and disrupt the critical step of production of the annual flu vaccine. Partnership to Fight Infectious Diseases said in a statement. The group consists of patients, healthcare experts, and public health organizations addressing the global threat of infectious diseases. Canceling transparency in public expert committees undermines the vaccine confidence and sows doubt in a process that has long safeguarded public health. The consequences are not theoretical. They're deadly, the group added. We have a flu epidemic right now in the country. And a lot of people have been vaccinated. Can you imagine how bad things will get if avian flu and the flu and measles and COVID are all running rampant in this country? And Moonbeam here is out saying, well, I think there's still some skepticism as we approach a 15 to 20% death rate. And this is, at the end of the day, there's, no matter what Trump and his administration says, if things go as south as I think they're going to go in regards to the Health and Human Services and these diseases, they're not going to be able to spin that in any kind of positive way. And that would probably be, I think that if the military, if everyone is all of a sudden suffering at the same rate and things are going really south real fast, then I think that no matter what, then at that point, the national news media, regardless of who is dictating them, can't ignore the fact that, stack those bodies in a neat display. I don't know where they would go with it. Needless to say, you should be somewhat concerned. I don't think the Health and Human Services Department has necessarily got health or human services on its top priority list. Speaking of viruses, Andrew and Tristan Tate. Oh, God. I mean, there are times where you say to yourself, can Trump really live down to my expectations? And not only does he punches a hole through the floor and goes down 8 or 9 more flights. Some of Trump's most devoted followers are outraged that his administration might have played a role at getting right-wing influencers Andrew and Tristan Tate released from custody in Romania, where they're under investigation for human trafficking. The British-American brothers boarded a private jet earlier on Thursday in Romania, landed hours later at Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International shortly after 11 a.m. this morning. But Florida Governor Ron DeSantis announced they were not welcome to remain in the state. Florida's not. Ron DeSantis thinks you're horrible, and Trump's trying to give you a pardon. Wow. DeSantis, Florida is not a place where you're welcome with that type of conduct. The Tate brothers have been awaiting trial in Romania after they were charged with human trafficking and forming a criminal gang to sexually exploit women, but it's not clear why the court there had ruled that they would leave the country. Romanian officials denied the Trump administration had pressured them to allow the Tates to leave, while the State Department did not immediately respond to requests for comment. But U.S. Special Envoy Richard Grenell reportedly urged the country's foreign minister to lift their travel restrictions during the Munich Security Conference so they could flee. The pair are obligated to return later this year as long as they remain under judicial control of the Romanian Special Prosecutor's Office, which is still investigating sex trafficking and money laundering allegations against them. And their lawyer, Joseph McBride, called on DeSantis to step down over his remarks. Jeez. So I want to make sure. This is one of those moments I'm like without words. He released the January 6th terrorists, the insurrectionists, the anti-American jackasses. He released all of them, including the ones who beat cops in the street. As at the same time, he's saying, we have to round up, these foreign countries are sending us their criminals who are running free in the streets. No, not really. Do you know who's releasing the criminals into the streets? It's you. Trump released all the January 6 criminals and allowed them, the ones who beat cops on the streets. And it should be mentioned that some of them have already taken to following and taunting the police officers they beat. There's some that have already been arrested. There's one that died in a shootout with the cops. There was one that was on the run already for trying to solicit a minor. Trump let those criminals back on the streets. Cop beaters, cop killers. Then there's Representative Corey Mills, the guy from Florida. That's the Florida rep, isn't it? Corey Mills, Representative Corey Mills. You know, it's Mills. Yeah, you Corey Mills, U.S. Representative. In case you missed that little nugget of a story, yesterday it was revealed that apparently this was last week. Last week, the police got called to his condo in D.C., where he himself had admitted to police that he got physical with his mistress. That's right. Yet another Florida Republican who, I'm a family values Christian, who's got his clang, clang, clang goes the trolley on the side. And apparently he needed to let off some steam, so he apparently got physical with her. The police noted that bruises on her arm looked very recent and that that was the case. They also have a phone call with the victim talking to the representative and saying, the representative telling her, hey, you need to lie about how you got those bruises. Well, I made this point yesterday. If a black man had 1/10 of the evidence we have against Representative Corey Mills and had been caught, they would not only not be on the streets, they would already be facing their jail time. Representative Corey Mills, they sent this up to the DOJ because this happened in the DC area. They sent it up to the DOJ, and the DOJ refused to sign off on the warrant for his arrest. Because, hey, he just needed to let off some steam so the chickie poo got out of line a little bit. So what's no blood, no fall, huh? That's it. And now we have the Tate brothers. Tate brothers released. Trump went out of his way to find 2 guys who are under investigation for human trafficking. 4 women in England all point to them saying they did this. The Romanians had even pulled them aside and said, this is not good. And Donald Trump pressured them to be released back into the United States so they can traffic women here in this country. Wow. It is the Matt McNeil Show.
But I give all my money.
Hey, it's Tom. Minnesotans take pride in protecting their lakes, trees, and natural beauty. And now you have a chance to do even more. The state is committed to 100% renewable energy by 2040. And by switching to all energy solar, you can help make that goal a reality. Solar works in Minnesota year-round. It runs on sunlight, not heat. So even in the winter, you're generating clean energy. And for over 15 years, All Energy Solar has been helping Minnesotans make the move to affordable, renewable power. Now is the time to act. Some federal rebates could disappear with changes in the federal government, so don't wait and miss out. Get with a trusted, award-winning company. All Energy Solar was named Minnesota's best gold winner in 2024 and recognized as a top solar contractor by Solar Power World. The future is renewable. The choice is yours. Stop paying the utility company and start producing your own clean energy with All Energy Solar. Get a free consultation today at allenergysolar.com.
Returning Saturday, March 1st, right here on AM 950, and every Saturday, March through October, it's Garden Talk Radio from 7 to 8 a.m. It's the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show, topic focused, guests from across the country, and answering your garden questions. Submit your questions now to gardentalkradio@gmail.com or call anytime to 1-800-927-SHOW. That's every Saturday morning, March through October, from 7 to 8 a.m., right here on AM 950.
This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, weekdays at 5 p.m. On our show, you'll hear about Native issues like treaties, protecting Mother Earth, and holding our elected officials accountable. Weekly correspondents like Dr. Stately, State Senator Mary Kunesh, Robert Lilligren, and Bob Blake update us with the latest news from Turtle Island. Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues. Listen weekdays at 5 p.m. or watch the show on Native Roots Radio social media accounts. Ho-wah!
Greg Bakken here. I've told you about the out-of-the-world roast beef sandwiches at Maverick's Real Roast Beef, but I haven't told you about their Philly steak sandwiches, turkey bacon avocado sandwich, BLT, crispy chicken, fish sandwiches, brisket, or pulled pork. Okay, you get the idea. They make a lot of delicious food to the same standard as their famous roast beef sandwiches, and now I'm starving. I'm going to go to Maverick's Real Roast Beef off Lexington and Roseville, and you need to go too. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com. Did you know Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bakken airs 5 nights a week at 10 p.m.? That's 5 nights of talking about ghosts, ufology, Bigfoot, and so much more. We're talking about the paranormal every Monday through Friday with some of the most trusted names in the field. Join us and step into the unknown with Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bakken, Monday through Friday at 10 p.m. Only if you dare.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. I got to talk about Gene Hackman. I'm going to spend this last one just talking about Gene Hackman. Oh, my God. What an amazing actor. What an absolutely amazing actor. The Rolling Stone, speaking of which, that Rolling Stone article also had an article in there saying, is he one of the greatest American actors, or is he the greatest American actor we've ever produced? Which is an interesting question. When you look at this dude's list of movies, there is a legit argument you can make he might be the best actor we've ever produced in this country. But first, let me get to the story here, because there is some questions here. Investigators believe the deaths of actor Gene Hackman and his wife, Betsy Arakawa, are suspicious, according to a search warrant affidavit released on Thursday morning. Hackman, 95, Arakawa, 63, were both found dead in their home in Santa Fe, New Mexico on Wednesday afternoon. The cause of their deaths has not been determined, although the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office said early on Thursday that foul play is not currently suspected. In an application for a search warrant, Detective Roy Arndt told the judge the circumstances are suspicious enough in nature to require a thorough search and investigation. The bodies were found by 2 maintenance workers. Arakawa was lying in the bathroom floor. A prescription pill bottle was open on the countertop with pills scattered nearby. Hackman was discovered in the mudroom adjacent to the kitchen with his sunglasses at his side. It appeared the detective that both had fallen to the ground. A dead dog was also found in the bathroom closest to Arakawa's body. 2 healthy dogs were also found on the property, one near the Arakawa and the other running loose outdoors. The front door of the house was open, though there was no sign of forcible entry. The fire department, initially there was reports that they thought this might be a gas leak, and that's what, because of how they found him, and I'll get to that here in a second. The fire department and the gas company were called out to check for a natural gas leak, which could cause the carbon monoxide poisoning. They did not detect anything, and there were no obvious signs of a gas leak, although something happened here. And now, and by the way, I mean, there's a salacious nature of, there were pills surrounding it. By all accounts, it sounds like she dropped like a fly in the bathroom, and he dropped in the mudroom, and the dog died next to her in the bathroom. I don't blame them. That would be my first guess. Was there a CO2 leak or something like that? That might be the case. I will say this. It doesn't sound like there's any signs of violence. So no like gunshot wounds or stabs or strangulation or anything like that. So something happened to them both where they, and the dog, where they all just, where they were at that moment, that was it. They died. Why? I imagine we'll eventually find out. I mean, I don't know. Could it be some kind of, food poisoning that got them all very suddenly? I don't know. The dog's biology kind of leads you to believe that wouldn't be the case, but needless to say, this is going to be obviously there. Gene Hackman, holy God, man. I was looking through his of course, the one that I think most people going way back in time was, the first one I think was Bonnie and Clyde. That's the one where I think a lot of people started paying attention to him and saying, that this is someone to pay attention to. And my wife and I just watched it like a year and a half ago. She had never seen it. And he is quite good in there as Buck. Not his highest rated movie though. That was not. Then of course came the French Connection, which was fantastic as Jimmy Doyle, although a little dated at this point, but a fantastic, police movie in regards to the chase scene is great, as well as also just the plot of, him and Roy Scheider tearing apart the car trying to find the drugs. That's a great scene, actually. A very enjoyable movie. I like that one. Of course, Poseidon Adventure. Reverend Scott, which, I mean, as a kid, I remember that movie very clearly. And, three, some different movies there. I would say, I mean, we're going to get to a lot of his other things. The next thing that comes up that most people talk about is one of his highest rated bits, and it was a quick part. And my gosh, it's a blink and you'll miss it sort of thing. Young Frankenstein. But his scene as the blind guy with the monster, with Peter Boyle's The Monster, could be the greatest comedy ever filmed. It could be. I mean, that's up there with Peter Sellers saying, my school days. It is when the way Gene Hackman says this, cigars. Oh my God. Oh God, is that a funny scene? Oh, go see that one. His comic timing was brilliant. Of course, French Connection 2. He made A Bridge Too Far. He was in that movie. Superman. As Christopher Reeve was great as Clark Kent in Superman, but you forget that him as Lex Luthor really kind of made that movie. And yeah, very enjoyable. I enjoyed. He was great in that. He probably made the greatest sports movie of all time in Hoosiers. I would make an argument Hoosiers is the greatest sports movie ever made. And it still today holds up incredibly well as the coach of the Hickory basketball team going to the state championship. Just a great, great movie. No Way Out, another great movie. Mississippi Burning. When he's confronting the police officer and all the Klan guys by himself in the speakeasy, and he grabs the one guy right by the old, that is tough guy. I mean, the ultimate tough guy scene. Just, what's that? Is that gun just for show there? Beautiful scene. Unbelievable. It's amazing how many, when I started going through this, how many of his movies I can remember and quote lines. Unforgiven. This is, by the way, I believe the highest rated film he had was as Unforgiven, possibly the greatest Western ever done. Little Bill Daggett. He was also very good in The Firm, a very underrated film as far as his role in that one. I enjoyed him quite a bit in there. Crimson Tide was very good. The Birdcage, the entire Birdcage dinner scene. Holy God, is that brilliant. Extreme Measures, Enemy of the State, The Replacements, Heartbreakers, The Royal Tannenbaums. We just saw The Royal Tannenbaums about a year ago as well. How unbelievable he was in that. I think he is the greatest American actor we've ever produced. Pound for pound. Think about how many movies I just said there that everyone's like, oh yeah, oh my gosh. Gene Hackman, at 95 years old, you will be missed and beloved for a lifetime. Chicago, Seattle, talk to you tomorrow. Minneapolis, St. Paul, hour 2 up next.
Hi, I'm Bruce Klopfleisch. Join me every Sunday at 5 p.m. for Politics Matters. We'll talk about how civics, politics, and law affect you by highlighting a different topic each week. On this week's show, we cover the 11th Amendment to the Constitution, ask if the press will finally grow a spine and fight the Trump administration, and lay out how the House budget proposal will hurt rural Minnesota. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. for Politics Matters with Bruce Klopfleisch to discover why government and civics matter. and podcast the show anytime on your favorite app.
In these challenging times under the second Trump administration, reading can be a powerful tool to manage stress and anxiety, and Next Chapter booksellers can help. Their newest table features books designed to channel anxiety into meaningful action. From Noam Chomsky to Henry David Thoreau, it's a collection that invites you to reflect, learn, and take action during chaotic times. Explore the full list of titles at nextchapterbooksellers.com. That's Next Chapter Booksellers off Snelling and Grant, here to help keep your sanity.
Come see the Trained Chimp. It's the Matt McNeil Show, 3 to 5 p.m. weekday afternoons, right here on AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
AP News, I'm Mike Hempen. President Trump is giving Vladimir Putin the benefit of the doubt, as we hear from the AP's Sagar Magadi.
President Trump says he's confident Vladimir Putin will not push to restart the war in Ukraine if a truce is reached. In the Oval Office,
I think he'll keep his word.
The president says he's known Putin for a long time.
We had to go through the Russian hoax together. That was not a good thing. It's not fair.
And does not believe Putin will go back on his word. The president spoke alongside British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, the second European leader to visit the White House this week, amid concerns on the continent about the president perhaps conceding too much to Putin in an aggressive push to end the war. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky will be at the White House tomorrow. Sagar Magani, Washington.
Starting Tuesday, President Trump plans to impose tariffs on Canada and Mexico. In a Truth Social post, Trump says illicit drugs such as fentanyl are being smuggled into the U.S. at unacceptable levels, and that import taxes would force other countries to crack down on the trafficking. But Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says his nation is not the source of America's fentanyl problem.
Less than 1% of the fentanyl that arrives in the United States comes from Canada. But we know that even that 1%, or less than 1%, should be reduced, which is why we've invested $1.3 billion in strengthening our border capacities.
The audio courtesy of CTV. The Social Security Administration is preparing to lay off at least 7,000 people from its workforce of 60,000. Sources tell the Associated Press the final reduction number could be as high as 50%. This is AP News.
Retired or retiring soon? How much money do you need to live comfortably? Retirement Planners of America is here for you. Would you like to have financial peace of mind? Here's how. Step 1, find out the amount of money you'll need to retire. Step 2, have a plan to get there. Step 3, make sure that plan can take advantage of market gains but protect you from market losses. Discover how to do all three with a free consultation at 800-508-6108. That's 800-508-6108.
All investments involve risk, including losses. Past performance does not guarantee future results.
Progressive knows finding your new home was a dream come true. You wanted a walk-up with central air and a skylight, and you found it. Now, every Friday night, you get to fall asleep to the sound of your downstairs neighbors' dance parties. Progressive can't save you from your noisy neighbors, but we can save you money when you bundle your home and auto with us. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers.
Progressive change doesn't just happen. It takes dedication and a lot of hard work. 25 years ago, the Data Bank pioneered a new generation of software tools for progressive organizations here in Minnesota. Since then, thousands of organizations have used the Data Bank to create progressive change. Today, the Data Bank continues to help progressive organizations like AM 950. To have the Data Bank help your organization build capacity and create more change, text CHANGE to 612-540-0500 or go to thedatabank.com. The Data Bank, a quarter century of dedication and hard work for progressive organizations.
Spring and summer is the right time to install your fireplace. Find your perfect fireplace and have it installed and ready before the cold weather hits again. If you already have a wood fireplace, consider a fireplace insert or check out the entire selection at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces on East Franklin and Riverside in Minneapolis. It will transform your inefficient fireplace into a reliable, environmentally smart heating system.
This is Peter Solak, owner of Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces. Have you ever watched your dog or cat curl up in front of a fire? It's primordial, the way it touches both the animal and the human. We know that fire reaches deep into the heart and soul. Let us show you how. We have over 35 working units on display here in Minneapolis. We are located at the east end of Riverside Avenue at 2901 East Franklin. From I-94, take the Riverside Avenue exit. Find us also online at woodlandstoves.com. Let us help you make a fireplace part of your life.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, out of the ordinary products and services since 1977.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for sunny skies today with a high near 49, tonight partly cloudy with a low around 36, and Friday partly sunny with a high around 41. Mavericks Real Roast Beef in Roseville sets the standard for savory satisfaction. Experience the perfection of their Philly steak, turkey bacon, avocado, and more. Elevate your meal with freshly fried fries or onion rings. Visit mavericksbeef.com or visit them off Lexington and Roseville. Mavericks Real Roast Beef.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Hour number 2 of the show here. Matt Patrick here on your Thursday. AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. I want to get back to what I mentioned at the beginning of last hour. At the Minneapolis Institute of Art next Friday, I believe it is March 7th, there's going to be a little bit of a party. It's going to be the Giants preview party at the MIA. Giants is it's the program Giants Art from the Dean Collection of Swiss Beats and Alicia Keys, which I was reading an article about them. Now, first of all, I love the art. I love art. I love. Always have. It's one of the most underrated parts of the Twin Cities is the art scene here, because not only do you have the MIA, you've got the Walker, you've got the Wiseman, you also have the Minnesota Museum of American Art. A lot of great galleries. There's just a lot of great art everywhere. There's public sculpture everywhere in this town. I love it. And so I'm big on art. And I read a while back about this, that they Swiss Beats and Alicia Keys are like really this collection is supposed to be outstanding, and I can't wait to see it. So there's going to be a party coming up here. And then once again, this is on the 7th, so a week from Friday, a week from tomorrow. You could be among the first to see the pieces from the collection, highlighted nearly 100 works by significant Black artists. In addition to early access, guests will enjoy musical entertainment like bites, and there'll be a cash bar featuring specialty cocktails. You do have to be 21 and older. And I want to make sure I'm very clear about this. You have to be 21 and older. Now, this is once again next Friday. If you've won any time in the last, say, 6 months, hold off. Let's let some other people win. If you've won any time in like the last 6 months, and also you need to be able to go to this. So we every once in a while we get people that call in that try to win, and they all of a sudden they don't realize that this is for next Friday, the 7th of March. Okay, so we'll give those tickets away. I got a pair of tickets to give away today. I think I got a pair of tickets to give away on Tuesday as well. Listen for your chance at some point this hour. At some point this hour, you'll have a chance at winning 2 tickets to the Giants preview party over at the MIA on March 7th. Once again, 21 and older. We'll get to that here in a little bit. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. One quick little side story here. So this morning I had a cavity. That's right. I'm 56 years old, and yeah, I had a cavity. I had to go over and get it taken care of. So I'm sitting there, and as I am there, the person that I was seeing, the dentist I was seeing, of course, they have a dental technician. And the dental technician was Lupe. She was lovely. She did a fantastic job. And she was great. I mean, it went really well. And it did not escape me as I was sitting there and watching this woman work with my dentist and help fill my cavity, that this is the American dream. You come here, you go to school, you get an advanced degree. I heard the dentist and her talking a little bit about possibly going to dental school, and it's just really great. And it also crossed my mind that at any point, ICE thugs could kick open the door of that dentist's office and at the very least harass her for not being Whitey McWhitey. And that is the part which I really can't stand about where we're at right now, is that there are a lot of people. I am a white man. I'm white, straight, male, Christian man. I am not part of their target demo. that they, or the demo they want to target. How about I say it like that? The demo they want to target. She is. And people within this administration right now would pick her up without cause, throw her into some foreign country that she has no knowledge of or no family in, and act as if they've done something good. And I think about all the people that would be hurt by her not being there doing what she needs to do. And I'm saying this is, I'm not saying she's an undocumented worker. I'm saying she is documented. My guess is she is completely documented. But it doesn't matter to these people. They don't care. It's not about who the people are as far as whether they have a right to be here or not in their minds. It's about the color of their skin. And they're walking around, and anyone they see that's not Wonder Bread white, they're looking and saying, obviously, you're not supposed to be here. Well, unless you're Andrew Tate. I mean, we're going to let you in. Sweet Lord. No, this is what Trump has done to this country is a disgrace. And once again, I repeat my complete and total support for the groups, the minorities who, undocumented or documented, are going to be targeted by this group of clown cars for just trying to do their job and trying to exist. And I just hope the pain isn't as bad as it sure looks like it's going to be. It already is for a lot of people. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Changing topics dramatically. This one crossed my mind today, across the table. The St. Paul Johnson boys hockey team is no more. A tradition-rich program with state titles in 47, 53, 55, and 63 was the latest boys high school hockey casualty, bowing to changing eras and demographics on St. Paul's east side. We hung on as long as we could, said Johnson coach Steve Moose Younghens told the Star Tribune on Thursday morning. St. Paul school district leaders sent an email to students and families announcing the news Thursday morning. In the email obtained by the Star Tribune, district leaders wrote that they believe all St. Paul players will have an opportunity to play next season on this single team without cuts. Highland Park will be the host school with practices and games being held there. St. Paul Central also feeds into Highland. Como Park previously fed into Johnson. Highland coaching staff will lead the team, the district's email said. Johnson will have only 4 players for the upcoming 25-26 season, plus 2 from Como Park will feed the cooperative program, and 1 from the open world learning community. It has been decided St. Paul Public Schools and the athletic directors combine the co-op hockey teams to create one St. Paul Public School team starting 25-26 season. Highland athletic director Pat Oren wrote this in an email. The news continues to trend of dissolving inner city and first ring public hockey programs. Minneapolis has put 1 team on the ice representing 7 public schools since the 2010-2011 season. Bloomington Kennedy is on the same track as St. Paul Johnson. The Eagles players will fold into Bloomington Jefferson next season. Richfield disbanded its team, and Robbinsdale, Armstrong, and Cooper form one single team. Half of the 8 1991 state tournament participants will not field a team next year. Richfield, Kennedy, St. Paul Johnson, and Burnsville. How rich is Johnson's history? The great Herb Brooks played there on the 55 team before going on to become the hockey royalty. It's a sad day. It's a real sad day, said Skip Peltier, a standout member of the 63 state championship team. This is... It is sad to see this because like I said, I've talked about this numerous times. I had a front row seat to see where this was going with my kids and sports. And that just, it's the money. The money is, and it would be really easy to say money evil, but I got to be honest. I saw parents who have a ton of money who also had a ton of love for their kids. It wasn't like they were sending them out to these teams with nannies and stuff like this. No. Baseball is where my son played. He played baseball, and he was a very good player. But because he wasn't paying for the $5,000 per weekend tournament team in Florida or Arizona or Vegas, because he wasn't part of some $10,000 for the winter training program at a private gym, he just did not have a chance. Not necessarily because he wasn't talented. No, he was actually incredibly talented. And it is just the case. It's just there's pressure on these coaches to reward the players who are spending the money over the players that actually deserve to be there. But at the same time, when you look at hockey and baseball is an affordable option when it comes to hockey. Hockey is really becoming a sport for only the wealthiest of wealthy. Was it Hibbing Chisholm is now in the state tournament this year? Hibbing Chisholm. I didn't realize they had combined schools up there, but they did. You have a handful of schools who dominate the sport, and you're begging, and this is what they're doing, is they're begging school districts to spend money and parents to spend money to field teams to get beat 10-1, 12-0, 15-2 by these powerhouse teams. And I can see why these programs are not successful. You're not going to get a lot of kids who want to go out there and spend all the time and money it takes. I mean, the days of being able to walk in to a stadium on tryout day and be able to make a team, they're gone. Even if you have a tremendous amount of talent, the best you can hope for is JV, because there's this feeling you have to reward the people that have the money, because that's where the money is. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that there's not a lot of talented kids on a lot of these teams. No, they're incredibly talented, as they should be. You've got private trainers, you've got private championship weekend teams, you've got dietitians, you've got top of the line equipment. And it makes it virtually impossible for the Norman Rockwellian, I got my bat and my glove, I'm ready to try out for the team. I mean, yeah, maybe if you're out in some small town, understanding you're going to lose 20 of your 22 games you're going to play. You're playing for consolation prizes before the season has even begun. And then on top of that, there's this new thing, which I started seeing come around about 10 years ago, where it's people are foregoing playing high school sports and getting into these training teams where they're playing on elite levels. I mean, it was interesting. I went to drop my son off for a baseball practice, and all of a sudden, all these, you can tell they're super tall girls. They're either the basketball team or the volleyball team, and they were the volleyball team. And I got to talking to one of the coaches there. It's like, oh, these girls play in town here. So no, they don't play for anyone else. They play for us. And you go see the trophies in the case out there. And they go around and they play for this private team. They don't play high school sports, although any of them would probably be, top tier level player in the high school league. They forego that to play for this team, travel around nationwide to play in tournaments. And if you don't have $50,000, $60,000 a year of disposable income for that alone, how can you even compete? And once again, it'd be easiest in the world for me to sit here and say, oh, the money is the problem. But the reality is, once again, there's a lot of parents who are sitting there cheering their kid on. They're taking advantage of the system that's been created. And the system that's created is a money-based system. The entire concept, I'm going to be blunt. I don't know of many. How would I say this? I don't know of many kids that get a scholarship that couldn't easily afford the 4 years of college. Their family couldn't easily afford the 4 years of college as it is. Not saying that's an absolute. There are some kids I know that have, I don't think were necessarily in the greatest financial states, but they still got a scholarship because they just were that good. But most of the kids I know whose parents got they got a scholarship to go play their sport, they could have afforded a 4-year college anywhere they wanted to. Now they're getting a free ride. The entire idea of a scholarship to play a sport used to be to allow a person who couldn't afford to go to college to be able to go to college and play the sport for the college as a way to get a college education while giving something back to the school. Nowadays, it's unless you've got $100,000 to be able to spend just on the kids and the athletics, well, forget about trying to get a scholarship, which is, it's crazy. But that's the system. That's the system. My son, who has graduated college now, he basically, I remember his final, this was in the fall, I think it was like December of 2019, right before everything shut down and there was no sports that spring. That was his senior year. And he had a fall baseball coach, and the fall coach brought him over and he said, son, I guarantee you I could get you on a Division II team. I probably could get you onto it. He goes, you got the power to get onto a Division I team, guaranteed Division II, without a doubt Division III if you wanted to go to one of them. And my son looked at him and said, Coach, I got accepted to the University of Minnesota, the School of Science and Engineering. Math and Engineering. I'm going to go over there and get my degree. And the coach looked at him and said, go get your degree. You're done with baseball. That's okay. And I think that's about the most thing I'm most proud of, is that my son never lived in a world where he was trying to relive some sort of high school magic for the next 12 years to try to hold on to the grasp of it, because he seemed to get it. He enjoyed it. He was very good at playing baseball. My daughters were good at soccer. But the reality is it just got to a point where, it was one of those things where the hurdles to get to that next level were not their ability. It was the money. And once again, the easiest thing in the world to do would be able to sit there and say, oh, the money is the problem. But no, I mean, these kids, they produce really good athletes through these programs. There's a reason why they do it. Is the kids, they produce, it's not like someone who's undeserving is up there. It might not be the best player, but it's someone who's pretty good. And it's not money just to have somebody else raise my child for me. No, the parents are always there and they're present. I think hockey is the canary in the coal mine, because hockey is just so much more expensive than every other sport. But for the most part, I think that eventually when you get to the point where a handful of schools in each sport control the sport, and the best you can hope for is to get, lose your basketball game by 40. That's your best case scenario. Lose the baseball game by 20. Lose, the volleyball game 3-0 real quick. When that's the best you can hope for, it just discourages people from playing sports. Now, there are a lot of options out there, community rec programs and stuff like that if a kid wants to go out there and play. But I almost want to tell you to be careful with that, because if your child does show some ability, does show some talent, it's already going, even if you have some money to kind of get that process going, it's still a massive uphill climb, because the people that have the haves not only are creating situations where their kids have more training, more ability, more equipment, but they generally control these team boards, and they dictate who does and does not play. And a lot of that, it comes down to, well, who's paying the most for their kid to try to go through this? Well, those kids will play. And if you don't have the money to compete with that, it's hard when you get a kid that wants to play and they just end up, the rec league's all you're going to get. Maybe it's a reminder that sports just should be about fun. And the way it's going right now, it doesn't seem like it's a lot of fun for a lot of people. It's for the handful of teams and the handful of athletes that are at the premier programs, it's a ton of fun. But for 80% of the people playing these sports, 80% would probably be a conservative number. It doesn't seem like it's a lot of fun anymore. And now you're down to the point where you can't even field a team in St. Paul. You can only field one team in Minneapolis. How long is it? How long till we have one team for both Minneapolis and St. Paul? Probably not too long. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. We'll take a break, come back. It's the Matt McNeil Show here on your Thursday.
Think your company's safe? Your staff is working from home, right? As I speak, cyber criminals are mounting attacks across the country. Remember, when we're weakest, cyber criminals attack. Hi, Mark Sommerfeld from Rymark. The Rymark team is guiding our clients through these difficult times. In fact, demand has been so high, we created an easy-to-follow guide. It's yours free. Download our 5 steps to securely work from home now at rymarkit.com or call 651-328-8900 for a no-cost how-to discussion.
Peace of mind shouldn't cost a fortune. We keep things simple at Schroman Law because we believe planning for your estate and end-of-life care shouldn't be stressful or expensive. Every client relationship starts with a free consultation so clients have the information they need before making important decisions. From there, we work closely with clients to ensure they are choosing the most efficient and cost-effective plans for their specific needs. Schedule a free consultation today at schromanlaw.com. That's SCHROMEN law.com.
Hello, I'm Todd Mickelson, host of a Satellite View podcast. It's hard to find clarity or focus here on the ground with the fire hose of issues and events. We go up high and look back on Earth from a satellite view, where we can gain our bearings and learn from the past to shoot for a better future. And have fun and laughs along the way. Go to am950radio.com, click the programs link, and find a satellite view with Todd Mickelson.
Hi, I'm Scott Shamblot from Shamblot Family Dentistry. We're the fear-free, shame-free dental office. If you're having a dental emergency, we'll try and get you in the same day you call because we don't like to see anyone in pain. And we'll help you get through every appointment in the most pain-free way possible. As my daughter Rachel says,
if you don't see my dad, please see another dentist. Take care of your teeth because they're the only ones you get.
Shamblot Family Dentistry in Hopkins and St. Paul. Find them online at shamblotfamilydentistry.com or call 1-800-FIX-MY-TEETH.
End-of-life decisions are not easy to make. Hi, I'm Mary T. of Mary T. Hospice Care. It's important to make sure that this difficult time is meaningful and comforting to you and your loved ones. Our hospice team provides an individualized program of physical, emotional, spiritual, and practical care so your loved one is comfortable and not in pain. At Mary T. Hospice, we understand that choosing the right hospice care provider can be overwhelming, but we're here to assist you. Learn more today at marytinc.com.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. Patrick and I just talking during the break there. Yeah, eventually what you might end up seeing is just these club teams just purge all the best athletes, period. And then unintentionally, the high schools could end up becoming more like they used to be. Maybe that could be the eventual turnaround, is that the top players are all on these premium club teams, which, once again, nothing wrong with that. You know, you got the money to do it. That's what you're going to do. And that's where all the primary players that go to college, they come out of those teams, and it returns the high school teams back to much more of an amateur level. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. We'll have to see. 952-946-6205. Twin Cities Man is admitted to establishing a phony trust and collecting more than $10 million in a single federal tax return, then using his windfall to buy a house and various big-ticket items, according to federal prosecutors. Okay. Nathan Lloyd Staples, 38 of Mayer, awaits sentencing after pleading guilty in U.S. District Court to filing a false claim for a refund in connection with his tax return for 2022. The plea agreement between the U.S. Attorney's Office and Staples notes that the federal sentencing guidelines call for a term ranging from 4 3/4 to 5 3/4 years. However, federal judges have full discretion when sentencing defendants who are not bound by the guidelines. Staples remains free on bond ahead of the sentencing, which has yet to be scheduled. He received a check from the federal government for $10,121,542 used some of it for a deposit on his house and to buy a recreational vehicle, 3 vehicles, and a luxury purses. The plea finding. Okay, wait a second here. You got $10 million and you only made a deposit on the house? You could have bought the house outright, couldn't you have? Bought a wreck vehicle, 3 other cars, luxury person. I'm going to presume the cars, maybe they're boats. I don't know. Staples met someone through family contacts who instructed him on how to submit false tax returns and access the holdings of a secret trust maintained by the U.S. Treasury. Some dude just walking up to you doesn't lead me to believe it's really a secret trust. The person identified in public court records only as individual A told Staples to set up a family trust and file returns on behalf of it. Staples expressed doubt where the legality of the individual A was telling him and found a government website where secret government trust accounts were false, and there was possible civil and criminal penalties for filing tax returns based on individual A's theories. Even so, Staples organized an estate in his name, filed a false return in 2023 with individual A's assistance, and falsely claimed he would have earned $24.4 million in 2022 and $19 million in income tax withheld, $19 million of it, which was an overpayment. In reality, Staples worked in the restaurant industry. His household income was roughly $100,000. By the way, he made $24.4 million, and he got, okay. There's a lot about this story which is wrong, but I just want to say this man stole $10 million of money from all of us, $10 million from all of us. You guys out there, you talk about locking up somebody who robs a liquor store for 1,000 years, let them rot in jail. But then that same person, when you're confronted with something like this, like, who doesn't want a luxury house and a boat? Come on, this, I don't think it was right, but come on, do we really want to condemn this guy for life? Yeah, I do. Because we have a bad habit of looking at, it's a white guy crime, it's stealing taxpayer dollars. Well, then, he's a harmless scamp. Oh, you rascal. Versus, oh my God, he stole $10 million. Do you know how many liquor stores he'd have to rob to get $10 million? I lock this guy up I hope they go well over the 5 3/4, because you can't be this brazen. And an individual A here, they need to probably go to jail too. That would be my guess. Or maybe, he pled. How about that? Did he plead out to testify against this guy after he was the guy that floated the idea of doing this? Okay, at least from the story. That's at least what the implication is from the story. So, reminder, sometime this hour, we're going to be giving away a pair of tickets to the Giants preview party at the Minneapolis Institute of Art on Friday, March 7th. This is to go see Giants art from the Dean collection of Swiss Beats and Alicia Keys. It's a 21 and over event where they're going to have music, light bites, and all this art, 100 works from significant Black artists over at the MIA. Once again, this is going to be on March 7th, 21 and older. I got a pair of tickets to give away a little bit later on this hour, so listen for your chance to win. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Take a break. Come on back. It's the Matt McNeil Show on your Thursday.
That you talk, saying I'm the one that you want. Boy, bring a game. J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
Next time on Philosophy Talk, the philosophy of W.E.B. Du Bois.
Du Bois's brilliant book, The Souls of Black Folk, was a watershed in American culture.
Du Bois continues to influence the arts, sociology, and the philosophy of race to this very day.
W.E.B. Du Bois. Next time on A Vintage Philosophy Talk with John and Ken.
Catch Philosophy Talk every Sunday morning at 8 on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. That's Philosophy Talk, Sundays at 8 on AM 950.
Greg Bakken here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Maverick's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had. Made fresh, every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville.
Experience a brand new musical bursting with imagination and surprises. In Milo Imagines the World, a wildly creative young boy spends his time on a crowded train car, imagining the lives of the passengers around him, and sees his dreams come to vivid life in the form of vibrant songs and energetic dance numbers, with tunes ranging from pop to hip-hop to country. You won't want to miss this stunning new production that the Chicago Reader called an absolute delight. Milo Imagines the World is on stage at Children's Theater Company through March 9th. Get your tickets today at childrenstheater.org.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. We have families waiting for a car. You know, over 85% of unemployed are successful in finding and keeping a job if they have dependable transportation. A car plus a job equals a life changed. 612-919-5526. We have families waiting for a car. 919-5526 or autotech.org.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, cloudy with a low of 36. Then Friday, partly sunny with a high of 46, but temperatures falling. Maverick's Real Roast Beef in Roseville is an East Metro treasure, but there's so much more than just roast beef. Don't miss out on the fantastic crispy chicken, brisket, Philly steak, fish, and more. Maverick's is on Lexington Avenue, 1 mile south of Highway 36. Visit their website at mavericksbeef.com.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. Let's give away those tickets right now. Hey, if you've won in like the last 6 months, let's let someone else get a chance here, okay? All right. The Giants preview party for Giants art from the Dean collection of Swiss Beats and Alicia Keys is going to be hitting the Minneapolis Institute of Art on Friday, March 7th. This is going to be a fun event, 100 works by significant Black artists, as well as also light bites, some entertainment as well. This is once again March 7th, Friday, March 7th. You have to be 21 or older to win. You have to be 21 and older to win. And let's go. Caller number 5, 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Caller number 5, you're going to win a pair of tickets to the Giants preview party at the MIA. Good luck. Once again, 952-946-6205 is the phone number. We have not talked much about the Feeding Our Future trial, which has been going on. I wanted to kind of, I thought that this is pretty interesting in the argument that this one juror kind of gives up the ghost that this whole Feeding Our Future thing might have been a fraud from just the entire concept of it was. I was always under the impression that the allegation was this was a legitimate organization, that it became fraudulent. Now I'm not so sure. With a chuckle from the witness stand that brought smiles and stifled laughter from members of the jury, Jamie Phelps, a 49-year-old mechanic from Eagan, bluntly testified about the absurdity of his position. An offhanded conversation around his neighbor's bonfire over beers several years ago unwittingly landed him as a treasurer on the board of directors for Feeding Our Future, the nonprofit at the center of the $250 million pandemic meal fraud case. Amy Bach, Feeding Our Future's former executive director, currently standing trial, was dating Phelps's neighbor. She told Phelps how she was planning to start a nonprofit and needed to form a board. Sure, Phelps told her, wanting to help, but not knowing nothing more about her plans. What Phelps then did not realize was never told, by the way, that Bach went forward with that plan, naming Phelps as the treasurer and submitting various documents to the state with Phelps's forged signature, claiming he volunteered up to 5 hours a week and approved Feeding Our Future's budgets. Okay. Would you be well suited to be the nonprofit's treasurer, said Assistant U.S. Attorney Dan Bobier. I'm going to say no because I wouldn't know what I would be doing. I would be a fish out of water. Do you know what the company you were, did you know that what company you were named treasurer? Feeding Our Friends, I guess. I don't know exactly, Phelps answered. And he added that he felt used by Bach. Pretty angry, pretty upset. Why? Because I'm in a federal court for something I know nothing about, Phillips testified. Phillips' testimony in many ways mirrored that of Ben Stayberg, a St. Paul bartender who is unknowingly registered as president for Feeding Our Future's board of directors. Phelps has testified that he knows Stayberg from the bar. Ben's a great guy, but I don't think he want him as the president of anything of mine. Is not his background, Phillips testified. While not directly related to the fraud charges Bach faces, prosecutors appear to be using the haphazard and illegitimate information of her nonprofit as evidence that much of Feeding Our Future's existence revolves around fraud. Earlier, St. Paul boxing gym owner Caruso Fort testified about how Bach used his gym as a purported meal site without his permission or knowledge. Fort testified that he knew a small number of free meals were being served in the building where his business, SIR Boxing, was located in 2021 on Arcade Street in St. Paul. The children he trained in the morning would go upstairs and collect a free lunch. But Fort said he had no idea Bach registered his business by name as a meal site sponsored by and run by Feeding Our Future, claiming to have served 2,500 meals a day and collecting $1.8 million in reimbursement funds. It is very awful. It's sickening. Something like what I'm doing in the community for the kids, you never wanted to be tarnished and look like it was anything other than it was. In cross-examination regarding the boxing gym, Amy Bach's lawyer insinuated that there might have been another meal site on Arcade Street, but the paperwork shown in court seemed to show Bach at some point simply removed the name of the business SIR Boxing. So basically, they kept the same address and they just removed the name of the business. At least that's how it's coming across. There wasn't much of a cross-examination of Jamie Phelps, the Feeding Our Future former board treasurer. So they didn't really want to say that much to him. So, okay. So a few things about this. First is, it indeed does sound like the entire concept for Feeding Our Future was fraud. Because, you set up your board with a bartender and some guy who is the treasurer who knows nothing of being the treasurer. Yeah. Once again, innocent until proven guilty. But right now, the fact that your lawyers didn't really even try to counter this. I mean, you have to explain how random people were on the board of your nonprofit. You have to explain that how random people were on the board of your nonprofit. And on top of that, once again, you've got people who are saying, well, no, they weren't doing 2,500 meals a day at my gym. And the entire argument is there could have been another site serving meals on the block, but by their own argument that they never changed the address. It was still listed as the gym. Remember that story I was talking about earlier where the guy basically gets, the individual A tells him, hey, there's a super secret slush fund that you can steal from the Treasury Department. Yeah. God. How stupid do you have to be? You mean I owe money on tolls? That sort of thing. Come on. You can't be that dumb. You can't be that dumb. This, I mean, the question I have is did Amy Bach, was this something someone told her, you can set this up and all you have to do is just set up a board and claim you're doing something and they're going to send you a ton of cash. Is that what happened here? I'm asking the question. Is that what happened here? Or, was it kind of like the producers where you get a situation where somebody realizes and makes the point and says, hey, wait a second here. I can actually make more money with a flop than I can with a success. That sort of thing. Have you ever seen The Producers? Hilarious movie. The original, the remake was the musical. The musical itself was fantastic. The remade musical version was not. But is that the case? That you at one point did have an intention of doing something good for the community, but then you came to the realization is that you could have more money with a flop than a success. Another thing I want to make sure I mention is this was pretty brazen. And the fact that they were as brazen as they were, and the judge, and remember we talked about the judge basically said, no, you need to still keep making payments to this organization. We need to rethink how we monitor this stuff, because none of this, I mean, all it would have taken is one person to go over there and sit there on a Tuesday and say, well, there's no one here. And they say, well, they said there's 2,500 people there. Well, there wasn't 2,500 people there. I can tell you there wasn't 2,500 people. Then that's fraud. Then you got them. I don't know how a judge on the planet would look at this. And once again, that judge is insisting, well, I was just working with the information I had at the point. But it was pretty clear. I think it was pretty clear to a lot of people that there was some fraud going on here. Which then brings up the other thing. And this kind of something I've talked about with Feeding Our Future in the past. The people that were involved in this, if they wouldn't have gotten so greedy, would they have gotten away with it? And I think they would have. I think one of the things that's incredibly hard about this type of fraud to pick up is that it's done in little amounts. Say you just say to yourself, you know what? I'll be comfortable making $100,000 a year. I don't need to be making, $20 million a year or something like that. I don't need to be doing that. I just need to be making $100,000 a year. You probably could bury this. You're not buying the house. We talked about this when one guy had the house out on Prior Lake. You're not buying the lakeside property. You're not buying the super duper sports car and the $10,000 Rolex. You're living modestly in Golden Valley, and you've got, you're driving a medium-sized family car that's reasonably priced, and you don't have a big watch, and you don't go on big vacations. Would anyone really know? Because it seems to me that what the problem here is, there is, unless it's really obnoxious, people just generally don't start looking into it. And that's the case. At least the allegation is, from some of the evidence I've seen, Feeding Our Future just became so obvious there was a problem here. I mean, just the numbers of kids they keep saying they were feeding almost is more kids than are in the Twin Cities metro area. And so you had to be pretty brazen to put these numbers forward. And I think that's where they fell down. I mean, I'm not trying to be Matt's class. This is my class on being a mastermind in crime. No, this is not what I'm saying. But the one guy, the tax thing, the $10 million in taxes, if you almost wonder if he would have just said, okay, well, I'll get $50,000 and I'll just go get a brand new and real nice boat. Would have anyone batted an eye? Would have anyone batted an eye on that? Probably not. It'd probably fall well below their unless it just was picked for a random audit, it probably wouldn't have been anything that raised any suspicions. I mean, that's what the case is did we really find out this person was doing it because we started doing our due diligence, or is because the greed got to be too much? It got to be too many trips to Vegas and too many vacation homes and too much jewelry and designer purses and living the high roller lifestyle. That's what ends up tripping these guys up. Allegedly. Like I said, you're all innocent until proven guilty. You have your day in the court of law. I actually would have loved to be in court for this one today. I'm not the treasurer. I have no idea who the treasurer is. I am not there. But can I give this Jamie Phelps guy a lot of credit? He did sort of seem to understand, why would you bring me into this? I'm in a federal courtroom now having to testify, and I very clearly do understand the severity of what's going on right now. And you drag this poor guy and a bartender and a gym owner in on this. It's going to be. I'm going to look forward. I think I have a suspicion. How about I say it like this? I have a suspicion on exactly how Amy Bach's defense is going to go. Yeah, I have a suspicion. We'll have to see if my suspicion is correct. We'll have to wait until the defense takes the control of the trial to see how that goes. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. We'll take a break. Come on back. The Matt McNeil Show on AM 950.
Crooners is a classic supper club with a wide range of entertainment. Make your reservations for a parade of international, national, and local artists in the main stage showroom, the intimate Dunsmore Jazz Room, or outdoors at the seasonal Belvedere Under the Stars space. Or enjoy Maggie's Piano Lounge. Enjoy 4-star food and drinks with first-class supper club service. What are you waiting for? Go to croonersmn.com for more information and schedule. That's croonersmn.com.
Do you have a vehicle you no longer need? Are you a little cash-strapped? Rudy Luther Toyota will pay you for your used vehicle. It's really simple. Head to rudyluthertoyota.com, answer a few simple questions, and Rudy Luther Toyota will get you an instant offer. Then they will set up an appointment, and after a quick verification, they will handle all the paperwork and coordinate getting you your check. It's that simple. It's a fast way for you to get rid of the vehicle you no longer need, putting money in your hands. For more information, head to rudyluthertoyota.com. That's rudyluthertoyota.com.
Hi, this is Laura. Listen to Food Freedom Radio every Saturday at 8 a.m. or anytime via podcast. Our individual health is connected to the health of each other and connected to the health of the earth. We know the problems with the dominant food system: climate change, deadening soils, nitrates in the water, factory farming, injustice, concentration of wealth. How do we both as individuals and as a community step up and support a living food system which honors the earth? Tune to Food Freedom Radio every Saturday at 8 a.m. and remember to support your independent farmers.
Hi, this is Ken Hageland, host of Living Healthy and Aging Well, inviting you to listen to our live call-in talk show airing every Saturday from noon to 1, where we talk about your health and your life and provide insights you need to know to live and age well. Each week, we talk with guests who provide answers to important questions regarding healthcare, elder care, end-of-life care, and self-care for caregivers, and help you and your loved ones plan for the future and enjoy your highest quality of life today. Please join us every Saturday from noon to 1 on AM 950 for Living Healthy and Aging Well.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. Patrick, who is our winner of those tickets to go see the Giants preview party over the MIA on Friday, March 7th?
Aaron in Cottage Grove. Congratulations.
Aaron in Cottage Grove. Now, is that Aaron with an A or Aaron with an E?
Aaron with an E.
Aaron, there we go. Aaron with an E in Cottage Grove. Aaron, enjoy. Once again, that's the Giants preview party at the MIA. I'm actually going to go, like I said, to the media preview for this. I'm excited about this. The Giants art from the Dean collection of Swiss Beats and Alicia Keys is going to be on display over the MIA. The kickoff party is on Friday, March 7th, the Giants preview party. And yeah, we've got another pair of tickets, I believe, to give away on Tuesday of next week. So make sure you're listening for your chance to win. And yeah, there you go. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205 is the phone number. How about we talk about, I guess I was going to talk about something else, but I'm going to just, apparently Iowa lawmakers passed a bill that would eliminate state civil rights protections for transgender people. Basically, they're saying, yep, you can go do anything you want to the transgender people. One of these days on one of those bridges of Madison County, Iowa, they're going to have found a bunch of racist MAGA bigots, killed somebody, a transgender person, and act as like, well, we didn't want this to happen. No, you just basically went and did performance theater in Des Moines, where you basically sat there the entire time talking about they're lesser people than other people. We just want everyone to know that we think that they're not worthy of any kind of protections. Yeah, I can't tell you how happy I am. My daughter, when she had the opportunity to go to Wisconsin or Iowa State, she said, I'm not going to Iowa State. I'm going to Wisconsin. And frankly, I don't have any patience for people that live and wrap themselves in hate. And that's all these people are in Iowa, is they're wrapping themselves in the hate. And once again, they're going to be the ones who we never meant for that to happen when something tragic is going to happen. We all can see that cab coming from a mile away. Montana as well. This is a wild one. This is from the Heartland Signal, guys. A new bill in the Montana legislature would prohibit abortion trafficking, with criminal penalties for anyone who assists a pregnant woman in receiving an abortion, even if it's outside the state. Okay. House Bill 609 calls for a sentence of up to 5 years in prison for anyone who commits abortion trafficking, which is defined in the bill as a person commits the offense of abortion trafficking if the person purposely or knowingly transports or aids or assists another person in transporting an unborn child that is currently located in the state, either in a location within the state or to a location outside the state with the intent to obtain an abortion that is illegal in the state. Mind you, it doesn't say anything about the mom. It just says about the unborn baby. Okay. I want to see how are you going to enforce this? There's you go. HB 609 is sponsored by Representatives Carrie Seekins Crow from Billings, a realtor who was first elected to the Montana House of Representatives in 2020. 3 other Republicans have signed on as co-sponsors. Critics are voicing concerns over the enforcement of the law. If it were passed, law enforcement would need to know if a woman is pregnant to stop her from leaving the state. Seekins Crow did not respond to requests to comment on her bill's enforcement and the ethical and safety concerns involved with tracking pregnant women, which is clearly what this bill will do. That if you become pregnant, you have to register with your local sheriff's department that you're pregnant. And then you have to tell them anytime you leave. And then what happens if, just say you have a miscarriage and you're out of state? Well, then is there a full investigation team to make sure it was legit? You need to give us all your medical records. Democratic Legislative Campaign Committee Community Creations Director Lauren Cho blasted the bill. Beyond attacking Montana voters who decided decisively to protect abortion rights, state Republicans are now once again abusing the state legislature as a testing ground for their most extreme policies. Voters across the country are watching as Republicans take an axe to their rights, and they won't forget this when it comes time to get the ballot box. Well, in Montana, there's a lot of stupid people in Montana who think Yellowstone is the way I want to live my life, shooting my neighbors every once in a while. Yeah, that's I don't think they're going to learn. Abortion remains legal in Montana as a fetal viability or roughly up to 23 weeks. Voters also enshrined abortion rights into the state constitution last November, approving a ballot measure 57-42, restricting the ability for women to travel to abortion care. Is the latest GOP effort to combat abortion that's also been proposed in Missouri. Missouri state legislature is currently debating a bill to create a state-run database to track pregnant women at risk of receiving an abortion, which was described as eHarmony for babies. We talked about that one. Like Montana, Missourians also approved a reproductive rights ballot measure last November. Do you remember when we were talking about just creating a database of guns and Republicans acted as if you kicked their dog? How dare you propose a database of law-abiding people? How dare you? How dare you? Those same people. Database, yay! Unbelievable. I mean, is there going to be daily state testing in Missouri and Montana? Where, here's your pregnancy stick, go to the bathroom, let's see if there's a plus mark or minus mark, so they can know who is pregnant when they're pregnant? Then they jot everything down? Or are we really going to go medieval here? Are we really going to just strap the pregnant women to a bed or lock them in a room and say, we'll come see you in 9 months? Because we cherish life. Yeah. These guys, the enforceability of this stuff seems to be the least of their concerns. And obviously, it should be the biggest priority for the rest of us. Dear Lord. Native Roots Radio is up next. Have a great rest of your day. We're back on a Friday. Till then, see ya.
The Minneapolis Institute of Art will be presenting Giant